Alright, welcome to episode 50. So, my name's Navar. I'm a founder of 2 startups that I'm still currently running. I've actually started a few more startups than that. One I exited last year, that's still running in New Zealand, so that one went really well. And so now I'm focused on Navexa and Dealify are my 2 new ones. So the journey to $10,000 MRR is quite an interesting one. So with Navexa, that took maybe 2 or 3 years to hit 10K MRR, and with Dealify that took a couple of months to hit 10K MRR. And one of the big difference between those two, Navexa's B2C, Dealify's B2B, but also Dealify was the second SaaS that I did, Navexa being the first. And excuse my hoarse throat at the moment, still got the lingering cough. There's a lot of challenges to getting through there, and I think it's one of the questions I always wanted to know when I was in that position. Like, how do you get to that mythical 10K? And unfortunately, I don't think there's really a good answer of like, do this one thing. There's all the usual advice, like find your target customer, go where they hang out, build something that solves their pain point. You would have heard that advice a million times, and that advice is all super important. I think some of the biggest mistakes was initially is our messaging was too broad. We were trying to go after everyone. We were copying business models of other companies that weren't super relevant to what we were doing, and just a general lack of marketing skill from myself at the very beginning. So I was a classic dev who thought, if you build it, they will come. And that is just absolutely not true. There might be some exceptions where that happens, but for the most part, most startups never even make a single dollar. And I think that's in large part because they're a technical founder. They build something that they spend like a year doing, and then they release it, and surprise, surprise, no one will ever see it or hear about it because there's no marketing. So I think if you're watching this and you haven't started something yet and you want to, I would heavily recommend building an audience first in whatever it is you're wanting to move into. So, for example, Navexa is a portfolio tracker and tax reporting platform, so it's in the investing space. I 100% would go back in time now and be building an audience either on Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever it was, to get other investors, be participating in subreddits and the communities so people knew who I am. Then when I release my first version of Navexa, it's not to like no one. I'll be like, hey guys, the people I've been chatting to for a year or two, I've just released this new product that solves problems we've discussed many times. Can you check it out? And bam, there's your initial customer base. And I think that's particularly relevant in a B2C setting. But even in a B2B setting, I think I've had success now, or some success, in the B2B space. With Navexa, but just because I've been in that industry now for several years, I've learned a lot of stuff about what they need. And then with Dealify, it was an industry I was in for several years, so I had built what they need. And I think that's a real trick. Like, you've got to learn all about that industry, I think it'll be pretty tricky if you're like, I'm going to build a B2B app for like real estate agents, and you've like never been a real estate agent, or you've never even bought a house or gone through the process. You're just not going to know. So that's one of the big things. But the biggest thing is just focus. Like during the early couple of years in Navexa, it was just like shiny object syndrome, jumping from place to place. Let's do this kind of marketing. Now let's do this kind of marketing. Well, what about this kind of marketing? And then you just go everywhere and you do nothing. And it takes so long to kind of make any progress. But it's a scrappy time. I don't think, or for me anyway, there's no solid, even when we got to 10K MRR, it wasn't like, all right, we've nailed how to do that, then onwards to 20. It was just as scrappy getting from 10K that it is getting to 20K. So still learning a lot of lessons around that. And I'll do some more video on this, I think, because it's really interesting to see. I think I'll outline all the things we did and what worked and what didn't. So on that note, just pulled up at the gym. Hope you're having a good day. Get after it. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe for more stuff.